Sir.
And to you. Make way.
Aye, presently.
What do you want?
The sight of your purse would suit me.
You've got a light touch for a beggar. The point of my sword will suit you better, though.
Whoever he is, he keeps a rough manner in his fine clothes. Search him.
What's that?
A royal letter.
King's messenger. Best kill him now. Put him in the bushes. No. Well, that's worth something. Use your eyes.
Where have you seen this crest before? Fetch some water to bathe his head.
Fetch some water.
It's a miserable sack. Doesn't even hang properly. You promised me something to give me greater height. These sleeves are too plump.
Oh, I'll attend to them.
Look at this fur trimming. It's as skimpy as a boy's beard. And I asked for gold on the collar and cuffs here and here.
These can be added on.
Not to this garment. Besides, it's the wrong colour.
You chose the belt of Tuscan blue yourself.
I've changed my mind. Ha! Deeper shade, I think. Yes, much better.
As my Lord Abbot wishes.
Careful, you clumsy oafs.
Wrap it in that tapestry and remember, both are valuable. I'll keep this rag as a working robe while you make another.
Certainly. Just one more thing, Your Reverence. The matter of payment, especially with new cloth to buy.
My clerk will attend to that.
Yes, well, I've already tried to talk with him, but it seems he's disappeared.
That slovenly cynic, he always does when there's any work to be done. Do you know where Tuck is?
No, Your Reverence. We think he must have gone wandering in the forest again.
Well, this time, the hermit can wander forever. We'll be gone from here shortly.
Rough. Yeah. Big wine might do you good. I'm, sorry.
Who are you?
Will Scarlet.
You always wield a club before introducing yourself?
I had no idea who you were, my lord.
Would knowing who I was have stopped you?
Aye, that it would. In any case, I realized we'd met before.
We have?
It's the archery contest at Lincoln Fair 2 years ago.
What did you say your name was?
Will Scarlet. We tied for the prize.
Will the bowman?
Aye, as was. And you were the son of a forester, or so we thought. So my father was right. He was steward at the manor of Huntingdon until the old Earl was killed in France.
Your father was steward at Huntingdon Manor.
Aye. He often told me the story of how the infant son of the Earl vanished. He used to tell me that one day the young Earl would return. And it appears he has.
What about you? What made you take to this life?
There was none other but to stay on at the manor and serve under the man who took your place.
The abbot of Grantham.
The abbot? He's more like the devil's broker than a curer of souls.
Yes, I know all about him.
No, you don't. You don't know the half of it. His cruelty's a byword in these parts. Show him, Ralph.
For stealing a loaf of bread for my family. The abbot and his friends gorge themselves while people like us starve.
He even keeps a private army to enforce his own laws.
The village that bears your name is the poorest in England.
You seem to forget that I was brought up as a forester's son. I know what's happening in England.
And I know what I would do to change it.
How could you do anything?
This ledger is King Richard's authority. I now have my proper title.
And I shall claim my inheritance.
You may be too late for that. As I feared. The jackals picked the place clean.
It can't have been gone long.
There were wagons here this morning. Ralph saw them loading.
You might have done better to hold them up instead of me.
There were too many armed guards.
I was taught in my father's day the manor was nobly hung and furnished.
It was. The abbot had some church property, but most of what was here is yours.
Unfortunately, I have no records to prove it.
Even though he bled your estates, they say he was heavy in debt to a moneylender. It's rumored he often failed to pay the crown dues at Nottingham.
I wonder what he's setting up residence.
It won't be at the old priory at Curtin. That was allowed to fall into ruins.
I must have been warned of our coming.
What? Unhand me, you noxious oaf!
Found him asleep in the cellar behind a cask.
Aye, the sleep of the just. I had had a small refreshment. There must have been sediment in it. My head feels like a sun-baked rock and twice as heavy. And who are you?
Bow to your lord and master, the Earl of Huntingdon.
I only ever bow to Christ, which annoys my so-called betters on earth profoundly. Huntingdon, eh? Welcome.
The state of this house is cheerless. Welcome.
Oh, yes, the abbot has left it rather bare.
You are in his employ.
Friar Tuck, I am his clerk and scrivener, or was. It would appear that I have been abandoned like the litter in here.
I want to know, good friar, where the abbot has taken the contents of this manor.
Now, that I cannot say, sir.
Oh, don't you know where it's gone?
I fear not.
You lie!
Unhand me. Were it not for the hammer beating in my head, you would not lay hands on me with impunity.
Where is the abbot?
I don't know! All I know is he intends to store everything until he finds a new abode. But where that is, I can't recall.
He's a looter. Most of what was here isn't his.
Quite. He is a trifle free with others' goods and chattels, and I told him so when he destroyed the inventory.
Inventory? What inventory?
Why, the notes of entailment made 20 years ago when he became caretaker to the earldom.
Would you recall what belongs to me?
I have a perfect memory.
Well, then perhaps you could rouse it and tell us where we'll find those wagons.
It will take a Madonna's thimble.
A what?
A reviver. So if I might step into the forest for a moment.
Oh, no, you don't.
Very well, then. You can collect what I need. A handful of crowberries, 1 or 2 stitchworts, the root of the firethorn, and a sprig of sorrel. I'll make a potion for my head. It always works.
The Queen Mother has returned.
Yes, I've just been watching the procession pass. Have you spoken to her yet?
No, of course not. She hasn't spoken to the King yet. She's not as I imagined.
Oh, in what way is she different?
No, she's beautiful. By now I thought she'd be in old age.
Well, she's well into it.
Well, she must have the secret of eternal youth.
Oh, no secret, my dear. Sheer force of the woman's character. She's had 2 husbands, outlived them both. She must have been quite old when John was born. Now, why don't she fleeced her for a few of those barons in the West? Still, the Crusade war chest will be the richer for that.
Guy. Nestor. My lady, I must leave you. I ride north for a few days to my estate. I've tried to gain audience with the king, but unfortunately he's still engaged. Well, now that the Queen Mother has returned, he will doubtless be busy for some time. However, fear not. He will approve our marriage.
May God give you a safe journey.
Till I return.
A little more warmth might have been fitting, my dear.
Fitting, perhaps, but not sincere.
You are getting to like him, aren't you?
I shall never like him.
I must say he impresses me more all the time.
His fine manners don't deceive me. There's a black streak in Sir Guy that nothing can hide. Not from me. Or from the Earl of Huntingdon.
You haven't spoken to him again, have you?
How could I? He's left for his estates.
That's the place.
The abbot has used that barn before for concealing his spoils. Guards.
If there are only those 2, it should be simple.
6. It's too many with those crossbows.
Maybe we'll catch him off guard.
Perhaps the friar could go down and hold their attention.
Oh, thank you to do your own dirty work.
Poor bird. Poor bird. How thoughtful of Richard to make me a homecoming gift.
They are talking birds from Damascus. He said to take care of your words in front of them.
He would.
100 marks and 50 men promised from my Lord Cannock. That's remarkable. The old scoundrel always pretends to be impecunious.
I made a point of staying with him. He couldn't hide the truth from me.
Nor, it seems, the Bishop of Silverstone. A most handsome contribution, the entire year's wool clip.
For the army of Christ and the good of his corrupt soul.
And Dulverton paid, after all.
Yes, to remain safely at home, but he paid.
Madam, I congratulate you.
Thank you, Longchamp.
You appear to have waged something of a crusade of your own. The king will be pleased.
So he should. How is my son?
In good spirit. The ships are gathering at Dover. His plans for departure are well advanced.
Is he ready to receive me?
Yes, Your Grace. Ah, my dear. Your Grace, allow me to present the Lady Marian Nestor.
Your Grace.
Ah, yes. You are the child who awaits the king's sanction to marry Sir Guy of Gisborne.
It is he who seeks permission, Your Grace.
Of course. I gather that just as I have a new handmaiden, so the king has acquired a new earl.
Robert, Earl of Huntingdon.
In no time at all, Your Grace has an astonishing knowledge of court affairs.
I make it my business, dear Longchamp. You're very pretty, my child.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Yet for one who is to be wed, there's an undeniable sadness in your face.
I am well content.
I can't stand anything in captivity. I had too much of it myself. Marriage can be a prison, too, to those wrongly matched.
Since when did Mother Church adopt the arms of Huntingdon?
There are another 4 wagons in there.
We'll go through them. I want only what's mine.
And what about the abbot?
Where's your master? Before you take to the woods, I have one more favor to ask of you.
What, more violence? Remember, I am a man of God.
I should like to meet this abbot of Grantham, but he's gone to Newark. Could you let him know that in his haste he left behind a large chest of valuables?
Spiteful, selfish, and above all, unbrotherly.
If John were here, I might think you were berating him. Those are exactly his qualities.
Nonsense, he reveres you.
Oh, nonsense, he envies me. And until that emotion burns itself out in his immature breast, if it ever does, I must treat him with the same caution I would an enemy.
What have I ever done that my own sons should speak so ill of each other?
Yes, Mother, isn't that what you'd planned?
Sometimes, Richard, you have the tongue of a viper.
Oh, John is not fitted for regent. If I gave him that much power, Longchamp could set no curb on him.
Longchamp is a glorified talent clerk.
He is honest, hard-working, and unlike most people, not for himself.
Don't you be too sure.
I need someone to keep a firm grip while I am gone on the crusade. A constant supply of men and arms. Now, John would have both for himself.
Can't you see any good in him at all?
Not much.
Oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu.
Mother, John is a spendthrift with dubious friends, unscrupulous self-seekers. He has no judgment.
He has the same seeds of greatness in him as you have.
Ambition, perhaps. And the true conspirator's mind.
I listen to no more of this.
Hear just one thing further. John will not be wholly empty-handed when I leave England.
No?
I have decided to give him 6 counties, his own exchequer, as well as the honour of Lancaster.
Why couldn't you have said so?
Because I enjoy it when you're angry with me.
Stay here while I go inside. If anyone approaches, warn me at once.
Enter, your reverence.
Huntingdon? My lord, I had not expected to see you under this roof so soon.
A glass of wine. A particularly good cask from Auvergne. But that I need hardly tell you what's in the cellar. Your Reverence?
No, thank you.
I dare say you must feel quite at home.
Well, naturally. However, I am delighted to see you properly installed.
No thanks to you. You'll find those items you own still in that barn, though your men are hardly in a fit state to guard them.
Well, perhaps one or two things were mistakenly removed.
There was no mistake, my Lord Abbot. Will? What's the punishment for stealing in these parts?
Ralph.
May I remind you that I am an ordained minister of the church?
And a common thief.
Take care, my lord. I have powerful friends at court.
More powerful than the king. He shall hear personally how you defile these robes. What did you find out, Ralph?
His Reverence's horse bears your mark.
And the ass? You may have that, my lord.
You'd have me ride on an ass?
What could be more biblical?
What ails you, my dear Sheriff? You look a trifle faint.
Not at all.
Wonderful for the Constitution. And what better to offset these morbid English climes?
Indeed.
Unless one wants to roast in the Holy Land, like my brother.
The king appears to have been most generous, Your Highness. He has granted you a kingdom, almost.
A kingdom? You're a wily fox, Nottingham. What are you driving at?
It is not for me to advise a prince.
Advise me of what?
Your opportunities.
Well, go ahead.
Leave us. Leave us. One day, perhaps sooner than you think, the crown will be yours.
What makes you so certain?
The king may never come back from his crusade.
My nephew Arthur is heir to the throne.
A sickly boy. No baron in England would tolerate his rule. The king knows that, and so do you.
Just what are you suggesting?
As soon as Richard sets forth, it will be time for you to play the part of a king.
You're forgetting Longchamp.
Appoint your own chancellor, ostensibly for your own lands, and create your own court.
A rival court? You have a persuasive line in treachery, Nottingham. But even in here I sweat cold. If Richard knew I'd as much as entertained the thought, he'd have my head.
Wait until he's gone.
And when he returns?
If he returns.
You go to fight the Crusades with King Richard?
I've no option, Will. He's appointed me his squire. I have something to ask you. I want you to serve me as my steward here at Huntingdon in my absence abroad.
As my father was your father's man, so will I be proud to.
Thank you.
Hello, Mudge. What are you doing here? Where's your father?
Is he ill? Well, speak up.
My father is dead, sire.
Dead? I saw him just 2 weeks ago.
He was hanged at Nottingham.
For what crime?
They say he got drunk and killed a soldier. But my father never touched strong drink. We think they wanted to silence his tongue.
Why?
He eavesdropped on some talk of the abbots.
In this house?
Aye. 2 monks from the monastery of Fleet came to visit him.
Go on.
My father was ordered to bake fresh bread. That's when he overheard them.
Overheard what?
He wouldn't tell a soul. Matter of state, he said. Too important for anyone. But the sheriff.
We hanged a dozen wrongdoers last week. What's so special about this lout?
His name was Walter, a miller from my estate.
Yeah. Ah, I remember him. A brawny, red-haired ape who brought his uncouth manners to town, smashed up a tavern, and broke the neck of one of my men who tried to stop him.
Well, he came to Nottingham to see you.
Did he? I'm so pleased we didn't meet.
You didn't sentence him in person?
I haven't time to see every malefactor who is sentenced to be hanged. I merely signed the warrant. On the evidence.
Then how do you know what he looked like?
I watched the executions. From that window. I like to when I can. I saw him hang. May I ask the purpose of this inquisition?
He had important information to impart.
No? About what?
I don't know.
Well, that's not very helpful, is it? If he did, we shall never learn what it was, shall we? My dear Lord Huntingdon, we are neighbours now. I welcome your visit. But since you are now an earl, rather than a forester, you really should confine yourself to loftier matters.
The welfare of my landsmen is high enough in my priority.
Of course, of course. But strictly speaking, they are no longer your people. You understand?
No, I do not understand.
Well, in any case, I hear you are to crusade with the king.
Yes.
Rest assured, as sheriff of this area, I shall serve your interests, and those of your tenants. This castle prides itself on a sound administration and common justice. My good wishes go with you, my lord.
I am indebted, Sheriff.
Fortunately, he knows nothing.
You dealt with him most skillfully.
I'm a little tired of covering up for your carelessness.
We need have no more truck with that upstart.
For your sake, I hope you're right. Must you sprawl everywhere like a slattern?
I had a painful journey here.
I have just the thing for you. A steam box left for me by Prince John.
This is better. More weight. Don't look so worried, my lord. You read too much into it.
I can't shake off the feeling it's important.
Look, this fellow who was hanged, you can't be sure he overheard something. And even if he did, it's hardly likely it concerned the safety of the realm. That is what you fear. You have a vivid imagination, my lord. If he heard anything at all, it was probably to do with cheating at cards, stealing livestock, or a woman. The country is full of schemers, plotting in their little holes. It's a national disease. My own brother suffers from it. Why do you smile?
Prince John was at Nottingham.
No, my lord. Nottingham is part of his new charge. Look, He's here, taking an interest in our preparations. Try not to see danger everywhere, my lord. Remember, fear is the warrior's worst foe. In a few days, we shall be gone from England. Those who want to can squabble and intrigue between themselves. Longchamp will make sure they don't overstep the mark. And they pay their taxes. And that's what counts. Brother, this is my Lord of Huntingdon.
Your Highness.
I don't believe you've met.
No.
The newly elevated Saxon.
I hear you too have been raised, Your Highness. I congratulate you on your new charge at Nottingham.
Fortune smiles on both of us.
Sir Guy had to leave the palace to attend some business.
Has the king given consent yet on your marriage?
No, my lord.
Then I am at perfect liberty to speak to you.
Of course, my lord.
We break no rules.
I think not.
I have wished that, ever since we first met.
My lord, you are unfair.
Am I?
Very soon now, our lives will take quite separate courses.
Why should they? I shall speak to the king.
What will you say? That you do not wish to go on his crusade?
I am bound to go. Whether or not I agree with leaving England in shaky hands. But you are not bound to marry someone like Gisborne over a parcel of land.
Will it make so much difference after you've gone?
It will make all the difference.
How selfish men can be. You could be away for years. You could be killed.
You would not have me cherish the thought of you.
My lord, I would.
Everything's ready. Down to the last horse, the last sack of oats.
I can almost smell freedom in the air.
Shut up! There is a great deal to be accomplished yet. The king hasn't seemed in any way unsettled.
No. Why? Nothing's gone amiss, has it?
A spot of local trouble with Huntingdon, that's all.
What sort of trouble?
That servant of his who heard him open his big mouth.
The one you hanged?
Yes. Huntingdon came inquiring about him.
He went away happy with what you told him. He's forgotten about it now.
Well, just in case he hasn't, I'm having him watched. So, the prospect of departure pleases Richard.
Yes, he's happier than ever now that his horizons are broadening. I trust he'll approve my marriage to Lady Marian before he leaves.
That would be very satisfactory.
He goes to Dover in 3 days' time.
So soon?
He's been listening to that Greek astrologer again. Well, he makes no move without first consulting the stars.
I will return with you to court. We must make the best of all worlds. You must ride in haste to London, too, alone.
But my personal security...
It is security that I am concerned about. You almost bungled it once. This time, we cannot afford to make mistakes.
Mother, it's out of the question.
Everything is packed. I'm ready to leave now.
It's too long a journey.
Oh, nonsense. I shan't be the least bit of trouble to you.
Well, I want you to remain here in England.
What for?
I'm appointing you co-regent with Longchamp.
No, Richard.
I want you to keep an eye on John.
Oh, not more suspicion.
Well-founded, and you know it.
John will never do as I bid any more than you will. It's Longchamp's job to keep your kingdom under control. I've been a queen, Richard. I'm a little tired of all that now.
Well, that's an admission.
At least allow me to go as far as France with you. It's such a long time since I last saw Aquitaine.
I thought you said you never wanted to see it again.
You know nothing of love, do you, Richard? Of people or places.
Who says so?
Even under your nose, you can't see love at work.
What are you talking about?
The Lady Marian and young Huntingdon.
You think I'm a fool? You think your feelings for this girl had escaped me?
I assure you I had no intention of concealing them from your grace. Indeed, I promised the Lady Marian that I would talk to you.
You put me in a very delicate situation.
For my heartfelt apology.
Her uncle made her my charge at court. And then there's Sir Guy of Gisborne. He has the right to expect a fair chance to press his suit. And yet here you are coming between him and the maid's affections, wooing her under my roof.
Well, not deliberately. It doesn't happen like that.
Do you think I don't know about mutual affection? I didn't ask to take a liking to you. But you appeared, I made you my squire, and now in a sense you betray me.
Oh, hardly that, your grace.
Oh, isn't it? Sit down. Apart from my embarrassment at the situation, there is the matter of your morale on the crusade.
All the better because of her.
Oh, you might think that now. But I know what it is for men in battle to have thoughts of loved ones. They don't make good soldiers. They pine, their bravery is impaired.
And then your grace would reject my claim for her hand?
For your own good, Huntingdon, I have decided to approve her marriage to Gisborne. He shall have her hand.
What brings you here? Will wants to see you now.
As soon as he reached London, he made his way to a monastery.
Why not? He's an abbot.
The monastery of Fleet.
The monks of Fleet.
The same.
His guests on the night watch, his father overheard something.
Yes.
What's known about them?
Not much. Live on bread and water.
From choice.
Well, now that is unusual for a man of his appetites.
He went there with his robes covered. We heard him talking to a monk in the courtyard. He mentioned the word Chinot.
Chinot's a town in France, in Aquitaine.
That would make sense then. He was asking for a brother Jarre, a monk who's sailing for Normandy on one of the Crusade ships.
I must pay this monastery a visit. But you needn't come. You've done more than enough for one night.
Father.
Leave us. Leave it.
What happened to our brother Abbot?
He is mortally wounded. Stabbed on his way to chapel.
Father, I crave God's forgiveness before it takes place.
Before what takes place? You wish to confess for your immortal soul, my son?
Brother Shari is gone. It's too late to stop him. He lines his palm to soil his hands in blood.
Whose blood?
The King's. King Richard was sailed from Dover on board his vessel, the Chignon. He is to be murdered on board in mid-channel. His death on English soil would provoke an uprising. I was party to this terrible thing. Please, please, give me absolution.
Any news?
None, sire.
I cannot hold up any longer for a mere squire.
I'm afraid there is no sign of him.
I put my trust in that young man, and this is how he repays me. He turns and runs. Fetch me Nestor and his niece.
What can you expect from a Saxon?
He is no Saxon, sire, that would disgrace the name. I am a Saxon, and I disown him.
My lady, I am aware there is affection between you and the Earl of Huntingdon. Have you any knowledge of him or his whereabouts?
Sire, I have not seen him. I swear. By your leave, sire. I know the Earl of Huntingdon to be no coward. Some ill must have befallen him.
Some ill will befall him.
I disposed of the abbot.
Good.
Unfortunately, his confession was overheard by Huntingdon.
Where is Huntingdon?
He's safe enough, sir. I brought his signet.
Excellent.
What's to be done with him?
Oh. Kill him. He said this ring would serve as proof of our conversation. He said that he wants no part in the crusade, which he considers to be misguided. He also said that with the return of the ring, he renounces his title.
He renounces? I revoke! I'll go one better. If he's caught, he's to be put to death as an outlaw. And Gisborne shall have his lands. I'm sure the lady will enjoy living at Huntingdon Manor. I go to war, and I am glad of it. It pleases me to know that in all probability I shall not see this place again for many a day. John, you will not bid me farewell?
I didn't realize you entertained an affection for this Huntingdon.
Oh, Huntingdon means nothing to us, guys. Merely a sisterly interest. He deceived her as he deceived me.
I weep, my lord, because the king is leaving.
I don't like it either. It's only a rat. It'll make you feel at home. Shut up! He wouldn't come here. Listen, if he said he was coming, he'll come. A likely story. Quick.
My throat is parched. I must have some water.
I'm here! Are you all right? You've got to get me out of here. It's fight till I get to the king.
Yes? I've been sent to deal with a prisoner.
Your Grace. You would dare to show your face here. I'm sorry to intrude upon your privacy, sire.
You do more than that. You have a sword drawn in God's house. You add sacrilege to your cowardice.
I am no coward, sire.
You are in my eyes. And for that reason, I've branded you an outlaw.
An outlaw?
You left me with no alternative when you failed to appear. And why do you come here now? Tell me before I summon the guards.
Your Grace, I advise you not to sail. Your life is in danger. You are to be killed on board ship by a monk.
That is why I failed to appear. I was being held against my will. I did not desert you, sire. I am here now, and ready to join you.
I no longer want you as my squire. Get out of my sight. It may be you can find some other way to serve me here in England. Now get out.
May you return safely, sire.
Guard! Aboard my ship, you'll find a monk. If he has a dagger in his robes, kill him with it.